So the Republicans are infighting, and I'm here for it. In case you missed it, Cocaine Mitch, Google that by the way. He did the one thing you cannot do if you're friends with Donald Trump, and that's tell the truth. So former President Trump was impeached for inciting a riot, the riot at the Capitol building on January 6th, and the Democrats were trying to have the actual trial before he left office on January 20th. But Mitch McConnell, he decided, you know what, let's hold off on the trial for now because of whatever. And they ended up not having a trial before Trump actually was, his term was over. And I want you to put a pin in that because that's very important. That's a very important piece of detail. And we're going to go to that or go back to that a little bit later on in this video. So hold on to that. On February 9th, Trump was impeached for a second time, which is historic, by the way. And the Democrats made a really compelling argument that he was to blame for inciting the mob that eventually stormed the Capitol building. And it was pretty obvious to everyone, even a few Republicans, that he was to blame for this. Then it took him hours to even denounce them. And when he did, it really wasn't any kind of denouncing. It was, hey, you're special. We love you. And, this is just, yeah, get home safe. I'll kiss you goodnight and tuck you in, that type of thing. But a total of about 7 Republicans jumped ship, went against their own party, and decided to vote in favor of convicting President Trump. But it really didn't make much of a difference because they needed a 2/3 vote, which they would needed 10 more Republicans to actually convict. And out of the 7 that voted to convict, 5 of them aren't even up for re-election anymore. So it's really easy to be brave when you don't have any consequences for doing that. So since you needed a 2/3 majority, Trump was acquitted again. And the reason that we were given for why Trump was acquitted was because Mitch McConnell said, you can't convict a president that has already left office. It's unconstitutional. Even though on the first day of the impeachment trial, it was settled law, and there's also precedent that you can actually convict a president that has already left office. Not to mention that not convicting a president that left office creates this issue that they call the January exception, that you could literally, as the president, just do all kinds of weird shit, crimes and whatever you want in January, which is supposed to be your lame duck session, and you can get away with it as long as you're not in office when they bring you to task for doing these things that are illegal. So if you wanted to start a nuclear war, you can, as long as you resign right after. Now, here's where things get really interesting. So McConnell put off the trial, voted to acquit, and then blamed Trump for inciting the riot in the first place, which was the entire point of the impeachment. It's like if you were caught robbing someone's house and the police showed up and they said, hey, get out of the living room where the robbery happened, go stand outside. And you went outside. And then when you were brought to task for it and you were put on trial, the cop said, no, the person who robbed the house was actually inside the living room. See, this person here was outside at the time of the robbery, so, they're not guilty. We have to acquit. But then after the acquittal, the cop goes back and says, hey, look, this person here, they're the reason that this house got robbed. They actually were the ones that committed the robbery. So Mitch McConnell, and I want to be clear about this, was masterful in his defense of Trump. He was masterful. And it wasn't an outright defense where it's like, hey, this guy's innocent. It was a 3D chess move where he set the pieces the way he wanted them to fall and then used that situation he created as a reason to not hold this guy responsible. It's masterful. And this is where Trump falls short every single time. Instead of understanding what Mitch McConnell did for him, that gift that Mitch McConnell gave him, Trump turns on Mitch McConnell because Mitch McConnell called him out and basically said that he was the reason that these people stormed the Capitol. But he was. And then it seems as if some speechwriter for Trump decided to go after McConnell and called him a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. And I got to tell you that I think I have a pretty extensive vocabulary when I want to, and I don't know what half those words mean. And the thing that Trump probably didn't even realize is that McConnell has been a hack for him for the last 4 years. But the plot thickens because now Trump wants to create his own party and run primary races against any of the Republican senators who didn't actually back him. And this creates a really big problem for the GOP because, see, most races are close. Like, the majority of races are close. And if you have Trump creating a different party, see, every party wants what they call a big tent party. They want as many people under this tent as possible. So if you get 100 million people under your tent, you have 100 million people that will more than likely vote for you. So that's the reason you don't see senators really denouncing crazy conspiracy theories like QAnon, because they want those votes. It's realistically what it is. So the more people that are in the party, the better their chances of being reelected or bringing new people and agendas into the government. So with Trump creating a different party and primarying pretty much any Republican that doesn't stand with him and just pledge complete loyalty, he now splits the Republican Party down the middle. And you have those people that are for Trump, the people that are against Trump. And that could be a really big problem for both sides, because if Trump doesn't have all the Republicans, he's never going to win another race. But if the traditional Republicans don't have all the crazies that Trump has, they'll never win another race. So it's infighting, and a house divided against itself won't stand. So now you have this thing that I like to call unintended consequences, where you make a decision today and don't realize the ramifications of that decision tomorrow. And eventually when it comes back around to you, you really don't understand because you weren't noticing as the pieces were falling into place. So the Republicans were pretty much embracing Trump since the day he came down that elevator. And they've stood up for him for everything he's ever done. They excused his crazy. They did whatever they could to be on his good side. And because of doing that, he may split the party in half, and Republicans will never win another race again. Is this the end of the Republican Party? I want you to tell me what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. But that's the end of this short video, and I'll catch you after the next one. Peace.